Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. It's such a pleasure to have this opportunity. Just to let you know that at first, when I heard that I was supposed to be speaking today, I heard my topic was supposed to be on Halloween. And alhamdulillah, I'm so glad that we're not speaking about how people worship the dead, but rather talking about how we can keep the living alive and healthier. So alhamdulillah, I'm honored to have this opportunity to present during the Taleem today. And I so appreciate Dr. Gloria's the duas that she said, because it is about health, because we know that we are responsible for this body, and that our every part of our body will bear witness on how we have treated our body, you know, on the day of Jannah. So alhamdulillah, we're trying to help people to be able to maintain their health and take care of this vessel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to take care of and to use for his good. I mean, so I'm excited because, you know, for almost 2 years now, the Salam Community Wellness Center has been a passion of mine and Dr. Gloria's and our wonderful team, because even in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw that and we felt very strongly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us everything we needed to be able to address this, even in the face of what we saw and continue to see in some instances, severe adversity, catastrophe, that Allah has given us within us the solution. We have such a wonderful team that we're working with. They came from all kinds of backgrounds, but with one main purpose and drive, the desire to help people in the community. So before we get into the rest of our discussion, conversation, I just want to share with you a couple of short videos that will tell you a little bit more about the Salam Community Wellness Center. And the first one will be one which will show you where we came from.
We initially started doing business in this community 4 years ago with a coin laundry facility, and I thought that perhaps other individuals would come to create economic development within this Woodline community, but it never happened. Okay. And my vision was to take over and redevelop the entire block, since the Koreans weren't trying to do it, the Arabs weren't trying to do it, and obviously we as a people weren't trying to do it. So our aim is to take this section here from 625 all the way to the next end of the city block, which would be St. Lawrence. This corner would be something dealing with economics. The second business will be dealing with food, because it's dealing with the food desert. Section that's right next to us over here will be dealing with training for entrepreneurship. Because we've got enough job training facilities, but how many entrepreneurs have we produced that would be the ones who would create jobs in various communities? That's what our aim and goal is. And the last section over there will be dealing with health and wellness, medical. That other section there. Now on the corner lot is where we're going to be putting the community garden, or producing vegetables, fresh vegetables, and call it an urban farm, garden. So how much space is this? This is 2 city lots. We have food deserts throughout the city of Chicago. And the aim and purpose to be able to demonstrate to the community that farming and gardening and doing for self connects us to the earth, connects us to nature. And that's something that's really missing within the urban corridor. So our aim and purpose is to develop this section here for farm and garden. And as I indicated, take over the entire city block.
I'm going to try to see if we can get to the other one. If not, you know, what we'll do is we'll just share with you, you know, what it is we've done, you know, since this time. I'm going to pull up our PowerPoint here. Sorry about that. All right. So So what you've gotten is a glimpse of what that property looked like. It's the block between Champlain and St. Lawrence in the Woodlawn community on 67th Street. And this came about as a vision, or I'm going to say a call to action from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can only give him the praise and the inspiration for this, because here we were in the midst of a pandemic, the early stages of it, and we saw that so many Black and brown individuals living primarily on the south side of Chicago were so negatively impacted by COVID-19. And as we know, it was because of underlying conditions that had been poorly or under addressed for many, 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 many years. And so we brought together a group of like-minded individuals from healthcare, from the areas of healthcare, public health, education, business, who wanted to make a difference, who didn't want to just talk about how bad things were, yet another catastrophe, that here we were at the bottom rung in terms of outcomes. We wanted to work together and utilize and pool all of our mental and spiritual and financial resources to make a difference in the community. Now, how we ended up at 67th Street, 613 East 67th Street is another miracle. It just so happened that the brother who did the presentation there, that's Brother Akbar Muhammad. He's my godson. He was a gift to me from my late husband, Aladdin Shabazz, who had mentored him for years. And he encouraged his brother always to give back to the community. So he was a longstanding business owner in the area and wanted to revitalize that corridor that had really fallen down, become very blighted over the years because of, you know, systemic racism and the disinvestment in the community. And so what he wanted to do was to buy or encourage other people to come in and buy this building that was next door to his laundromat. And you know, as he said, he couldn't encourage anybody to do that, and found out that that building, which had been abandoned for about 5 years, and actually we found out that they had been running drugs and guns out of there. Surprise, surprise. So he was able to get it off of the land bank to the city of Chicago. He bid it for it. The first time he didn't get the bid. The second time they said, they came back to him and asked him to bid, and he won it. And so that's where the nidus of where the location of the Taleem Community Wellness Center came from. And so simultaneously, that dedicated group of individuals, and Dr. Gloria is one of them, we came together, we said, okay, so we know that we need more healthcare, but what kind? We didn't want to just look at the same models that were out there, because obviously, even with all of the community health centers that have now set up offices within our communities, we still were at the wrong end, of the stick, so to speak, when it came to the outcomes from such catastrophes such as COVID-19. So we formed the Taleem Community Wellness Center, started our meetings in April. We became incorporated as a 501c3. We started organizing our board and our planning committee. And so we went through a whole strategic planning process. And our mission is to build and support healthy communities by empowering them through the improvement of health, wellness, education, and economic development. And our main areas of focus are really to address the need for culturally competent primary health care. And the reason why culturally competent primary health care is that studies have been showing that part of the reason, I'm just going to ask the folks to put yourself on mute, because it's getting a lot of background noise. So please check your mute button. Thank you. So why culturally competent primary health care is because studies have actually shown that when individuals, and I'm sure you all relate to this, if they do not trust or feel that their healthcare providers can relate to their situation, then they're less likely to follow through on recommendations, particularly when it comes to healthcare. We also are focusing in on addictions. Why? Because our community has been plagued with problems, addiction problems, and overdoses. And so what happened through COVID-19 was that the services for addiction treatment were decreased dramatically, because a lot of the most effective therapies, such as in-person group therapies, weren't happening because of issues around spread of COVID and the social distancing recommendation. Also, the addictions went up because a lot of what they found in studies is that people tend to increase their addictive behaviors when they're not around other people. And so just that social isolation it contributed to the increase in addictive behaviors. Same thing with mental health, and last but not least was nutrition. We know that the Woodlawn community in particular is a food desert. Believe it or not, they just received established their first full-fledged grocery store, which is a jewel on 61st Street and Cottage Grove, the first full-fledged grocery store in that community in 40 years. What a travesty. So how can you expect people to be able to manage their health when they don't even have access to healthy foods? So what is our model? You know, we said that tradition, that old model, you know, where you go to the physician or the health practitioner, you tell them what your problems are, you tell them what you've been told that you have, the diabetes, the high blood pressure and the like. You know, they'll do an exam, they'll do blood tests, maybe x-rays, write you a script, you're out the door. And I hate to say that, and I'm somebody who's been in that system for a long time, so I know how it rolls. But we wanted something different. You know, we wanted a model that utilizes both the best of the Western medicine as well as non-Western medicine. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we throw away the allopathic process? No, we use that because it's a complement to what we're doing. But we also look at doing naturopathic assessments, using things like traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, acupressure, mindfulness therapies, deep breathing, meditation, Reiki, sound therapy, yoga, Tai Chi. And of course, even though I didn't put it on here, very crucial and critical to anything we do. And for those of us who came into the community in the Nation of Islam, it was all about how to eat to live. That was one of the most important mantras that we follow, and it still holds true today. We cannot address all of these things effectively and have effective outcomes unless we deal with something that's called in the literature social determinants of health. And for us, you know, for those of us who came up in this community, it was always about addressing those things that kept people from living a clean lifestyle, an Islamic lifestyle. So if you don't have housing, if you have food insecurity, if you don't have right kind of education, which was always stressed and continues to be stressed, adequate employment, that's a clean environment, then you're not going to be able to have the physical health, the mental health, the spiritual health for that matter. You know, our wudu is part of that. You know, it's not just a practice of a ritual, it is a practice of actually, you know, environmental health, staying clean, having clean environment, your air, your water, and so on and so forth. So one of the other things that we are establishing through Salam Community Wellness Center is a social service program. We're working with other organizations such as the We Are Woodlawn organization, which is like an umbrella organization for a number of faith-based and social service organizations within the community. And we're working to develop a directory to help people who need assistance in being navigated to those kinds of services, like you said, the housing, the food assistance and workforce readiness. Other things that we're doing as part of our future is community health workers, people who will help to go into homes where people have lack of transportation to get information and services, and help to identify those kinds of services they need and help to connect them with it. Okay, and then workforce readiness. Of course, we have so many workers within Illinois, particularly. I think at the height of the pandemic, that they said that Illinois lost somewhere in the neighborhood of close to 300,000 workers, and many of them were in service sectors. And you know good and well that Black and brown people were probably the highest percentage of those workers who lost work. So we need to talk to people and help to train or connect people to workforce readiness programs that were going to prepare them for those next careers that they have. And also culturally competency training. And why do we say culturally competency training? As I mentioned early on, is that, you know, if we don't have people who look like us, who are providing us with care, there's less of a likelihood that people are going to be compliant with recommendations. It's about building trust within our community from people who are in our community. And then there are other programs that Salam is looking to launch. We were recently approached by an organization that is dealing with violence prevention, and as well as another one, home birthing. And I want to just talk briefly about that. With the violence prevention, I guess you might ask, well, what is it that this integrative model, what role does that play? How would that be effective? I mean, we see an uptick. We've seen a tremendous uptick, in the violence in our streets. And so much of it stems from deep rooted trauma that is multi-generational. And so we are working with other organizations that are addressing that. We know that the modalities that we talked about earlier that we are going to be offering will help to address that, because so much of the external manifestation, really comes from internal trauma and internal dis-ease. And so a lot of the modalities, and Dr. Gloria is going to talk about some of them, really help to calm the spirit, so to speak, and help to redirect the mind. Things like deep breathing, the meditation, the sound therapy, all of those have been found to be very effective in changing behaviors. The home birthing, alhamdulillah, there's a young Muslim sister who is a doula, and that's a trainer of women who are pregnant, as well as she is in the process of becoming a certified nurse midwife. And so she and her co-founder of the Holistic Birthing Collective, they have actually been able to get some support from the state of Illinois for a pilot program for home birthing. And alhamdulillah, the literature out there says that home births are safe. And we know many people, even in our community, who, had birthed their children at home. So it's a fallacy to say that a woman is at more risk if she has the child at home. No, there's a lot of literature that even dates back like to the 1940s that show that in some instances, particularly in Black communities, that they did some studies that show that the outcomes for home births were better than if women had the children in the hospital. So we are working with this organization and hope to play a partnership role with them to promote this within our community as options for our women. So I just want to briefly just go through some of the collaborations, the partnerships that Salam Community Wellness Center has been blessed to be able to develop. Governor State University, we have an affiliation agreement with them, and they're actually helping us to design some of our programs. Dominican University is, we have an affiliation agreement with them to place physician assistants, students at our facility. The University of Chicago, we were just recently approached by them for the opportunity for them to support our program through their accelerated program, which provides us with students and faculty members who will help us to develop some of our programs, like the violence prevention one, and our expansive program, integrated program. Chicago Inside Hospital, as you know, is the new name of Mercy Hospital, and that is now owned owned by a Muslim organization. And we've been talking to them about expanding their outreach into our community for mental health services. We've been in discussion with St. Bernard Hospital for some of their ancillary services. Zakat Foundation was very gracious and gave us a grant back in the early days that we started, and recently we received a award from the Council on Islamic Organization of Greater Chicago. So last but not least, because I want Dr. Gloria to talk more about our model, is our kickoff event. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much for those of you all who have been contributing to our program. I just want to let you know how a lot is so deemed for this to happen, because that building that you saw, and hopefully we'll be able to show you the little short video of that, But that building was transformed into, for our space, we have 3,300 square feet of space. We have 4 exam rooms. We have a multi-purpose room that we're using for both meetings, education events, as well as for some of our mindfulness therapies like the sound therapy, Reiki, deep breathing, meditation. We have a mental health room, and we have another unbuilt out portion of that same building, which is adjacent to our space, which is 3,300 square feet. This other space is 1,500 square feet. Inshallah, by next year, we will be building out with more exam rooms, multi-purpose rooms. I know Dr. Gloria, she said, hey, I need more space for that acupuncture. So inshallah, next year we'll be building out into there. So this has been done. This has been done with totally with individual donations. Okay, Brother Akbar that you saw, he has contributed over $700,000 of his own money to make this happen with Allah's help. So, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. And so the rest of it, save a small grant that we have received of $2,200. I didn't say 22,000, but $2,200 from an outside foundation. It has all been, with Allah's help, through personal donations. So, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, and we just are continuing on with this process. So, we've had a number of fundraising events, and now it's time, where the rubber meets the road. And so, inshallah, on Saturday, November 20th, from 11 to 1 p.m., we're going to have an in-person as well as a live streaming event. So the in-person obviously will be at our facility at 613 East 67th Street. And we will also be live streaming it for the in-person, obviously for social distancing purposes. We will have a limited number of slots open. For those who would like to register, we have the information here, and I know we'll be repeating that, and anyone who wants to, contact me personally, I'd be more than happy to direct you to how you can register or get more information about what we're doing. So, in the last slide here, that's our address, 613 East 67th Street. It's bordered by St. Lawrence on the west and Champlain on the east. Our phone number is 773-207-3540. And if you want to email us at info@salamcwc.org, or go to our website, which is www.salamcwc.org. So at this point in time, I am going to try to do this right and turn it back over to Dr. Gloria. Did you want to come on now? Do you need me to turn over the
no,
so she's going to tell us about all the good stuff we're going to be doing in terms of our model.
Yes. So, first of all, this is an integrative model, and this is something that's quite unique in our community. Typically, you will find integrative programs and models in Northwestern Hospital and North Shore Hospital, on the north side of Chicago, in the North Shore. And because typically those type of models really require, because they're not covered by insurance. And so this is all out of pocket. But what we're doing is we're bringing these integrative services to Woodlawn. And that includes acupuncture. It would include all of the modalities of acupuncture, cupping, and herbal medicine, right? All of the different modalities of acupuncture. It will also include other healing modalities that really are not really seen in our community, such as Reiki. For those of you who may not be aware of what Reiki is, but Reiki is an energy medicine. It is a healing medicine. And Reiki can be done distance-wise, or it can be done in individual settings or small group settings even. what Reiki does is help to bring up your own healing energy. Okay. And so we have a Reiki master. Her name is Sister Iman Ali. We also have Brother Paul Amir, who will be doing nutritional counseling and bringing for our community all of the familiar things that we know about with Eat to Live. But also, he's going to be talking with folks about digestion and how important that is. He's going to be talking to folks about, not just you are what you eat, but, what do you want to become health-wise? Okay. So he will be doing a deep dive into nutrition. We will be, our plan in the future is to have a community garden where we will be growing fruits and vegetables. Because as Brother Kirk said in the video, there's a food desert. Woodlawn has a food desert, okay? And I just want to add that it's not just Woodlawn. I am a native of the west side of Chicago, and Chicago is in equally as bad a shape as Woodlawn and some of the other communities where you've got primarily Black and brown folk, okay? And so my personal hope is that we can expand this model, that this is just not going to be a model that's just going to be in Woodlawn, that this is a model that we'd like to expand into other areas of the city of Chicago. And then to the suburban areas where that are primarily, where the primary residents are Black and brown folk. Because we know that the services being offered are not your typical services that folks are going to get at your doctor's office. When our patients come in, we're not going to see them in a 15-minute block and write them a script for their hypertension or their diabetes or what have you and send them on. No, they will be evaluated by all of our clinicians at different points, right? Not everybody's going to be interested in Reiki. Not everyone is going to be interested in acupuncture. Not everyone is going to be interested in nutritional therapy, but we want you to know that it's going to be available to you. We want to make sure that those services are, that I call concierge medicine, right? That those services are going to be available to you and to all patients who walk through our doors. One of the things that, for those of you who may know a little bit about, again, the healing energies, we're hoping to bring in yoga, which is another healing modality. We have I don't know if we should say a commitment or not, but our dear sister, Kay Alexander, who is a yoga master. And so we're looking forward to Sister Kay coming and bringing her expertise, right? We're looking forward. Yoga itself, just as a side thought, and I think I mentioned this on one other Taleem a while back, but there are actually some yoga postures that align with Salat, right? And how these particular postures are actually back therapy. And that's pretty amazing that when you start to think about that, a lot of healing that can occur is really within our grasp if we knew about it, okay? If we only knew about it. You've got yoga studios popping up all in the near north side, the, West Loop and the North Loop and North Side, but it's not a lot of yoga studios popping up in Woodlawn, right? Or on the West Side. And so we want to bring those healing modalities here. We want to equip individuals with some ability to self-care, because self-care is important. Dr. Constance and I have had multiple conversations about we cannot heal our bodies until we heal our minds. And until we're able to address depression, anxiety, right? Until we're able to address domestic violence, right? We have a psychotherapist on staff who will be there, who also is a specialist in working with addictions and domestic violence, right on our staff. Now, what clinics on the south side, east side, west side, where there are Black and Black brown folks, have these many clinicians under one roof who can provide those services? Taleem Community Wellness Center does. Okay. We have a naturopath, pardon me, who will be whose skill set is so diverse that it is not only steeped in Western medicine, but also Eastern medicine. So Dr. Crystal is her name. Dr. Crystal is also an acupuncturist. She also knows Western medicine, and so she will be able to work in concert with our medical director, who is Dr. Audrey Tankston, who also, by the way, who is a rock star in her own right. And she has gone through so much training in integrative medicine herself, right? And addictions training. She's board certified, if I'm correct, Dr. Constance, in addictions. Okay. So we have a lot of talent at Taleem Community Wellness Center, and we're looking forward to being able to share that talent. And I just want to go back and speak on, Dr. Constance talked about the doula and midwifery. When I met this sister, this sister blew my mind, because you know what she told me? She told me about the high mortality rate of children who are born in hospital of Black and brown folk, right? And there's several reasons for that. And I don't want to get too far and too deep into my soapbox here, because those of you who know me know that I can. But I just want to say that when Black and brown folk go to the hospital, we're not heard. When we talk about this pain or that pain or what's going on with us, oftentimes we're not heard, okay? And I had a doctor tell me personally a few years back, I have a connective tissue disorder. And so it affects a lot of moving parts in my body. And it's a genetic disorder. I only learned about it, 7 or so years ago, but I had the effects of it, not knowing what it was. And he looked at me and he said, you just look too good to be having all these problems. He could not believe anything I was telling him, because I didn't come in and this may not be politically correct, but I didn't pull a Karen. I wasn't hysterical. I wasn't screaming and demanding. I came in as a professional woman seeking help and seeking support. And his response to me was, well, you couldn't be that bad off, but you look too good. And I'm thinking, what kind of response is that? What kind of response is that, right? But he was not hearing anything that I was saying, because, of the basically Black folks are, we have a high pain tolerance. We have a high tolerance of a lot of things, because if we didn't have that tolerance, we would not survive. Okay. we couldn't become hysterical because somebody's going to call the police on us, right? We can't fall out in the store or fall out in the doctor's office because someone is going to call the psych unit on us. Okay, we can't demand services because we're going to be deemed that this patient is uncooperative, right? So, and so we've had to develop very, very thick skin over time, and we've had to become very, very, and even ourselves. And if I'm preaching to the choir, somebody let me know. But if I'm saying something that connects with you, that really connects with you, please raise your hand. Because what I find is that when we come in to the doctor's office or to seeing a professional, right? We're not taken very seriously. They don't take our pain seriously. They don't take how we feel seriously, and it takes, and I'm sure Dr. Constance has these statistics as an MD, but I'm sure it takes X number more visits to the doctor's office for them to believe that what's going on with us is actually going on with us, right? But if someone who's not Black and brown goes into the doctor's office, they are more believed than we are, okay? And so that's important to keep in mind that though we have had to be very strong, very stoic in some ways, because we didn't have the luxury of collapsing in the doctor's office because we got to go pick that baby up from school, right? We didn't have the luxury, okay, of just having a full meltdown in a doctor's office because we don't want. I'm getting a note here to let the audience in, and I'm not sure if I can get some assistance maybe, because I just got a note to let the audience in. I think maybe there's some questions. But the point is that if we don't, if we haven't had those luxuries in our lives.
Just a question. Do you have did you mute everyone?
No, I didn't mute anyone actually.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. So if you can raise your hand and I'll recognize you. And please beg my pardon for still being on the struggle bus with Zoom.
And maybe another option would be if somebody wants to ask a question to put it in chat just in case we can't hear them. But I just want to say a couple of things of what you were talking about, Dr. Gloria. When you talked about the duas, you mentioned those. You actually touched on how it was a recommendation to make this prayer 7 times, but to focus in on that area of concern. That's healing energy. That's healing energy. Alhamdulillah, that was so beautiful. And I just want to say one other thing. What we're doing at Salem Community Wellness Center it's really educating us on how to take care of ourselves. I always tell people I advise people what to do. I mean, there's very little that we do that's hands-on, but I've never followed a patient home to see what they eat, what they're buying, what they're cooking, how much exercise they're doing, how much if they're taking their medicine. It is about building trust and educating people so that they can make informed decisions. So we're not going to change everybody, but we can't. We know that people are hopefully, inshallah, if they know better, they do better, and that's so important. Yeah. I just want to also recognize Brother Shamsuddin Sadiq, and I know Brother Mir's on there too. Brother Shamsuddin is going to be doing financial literacy because that's part of the wellness. If we can't be lifted up economically, you know, then we are going to still, you know, we could be, you know, healthy body, but homeless, you know. So, you know, we have a complete group of individuals very qualified for the most part in our community, alhamdulillah, that are making this a successful program that not only for the south side of Chicago, Woodlawn, south side, west side, we look at this as a model that could be taken anywhere in the US, maybe around the world. And I'm gonna tell you, as I've talked to people and said this model, they said we need it where we are right now. It wasn't necessarily in Chicago. So do we have any questions? You want to open your mic, and anyone have any questions?
Yes, I got a question.
Okay.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum to everybody that's here and what have you. And congratulations and all the above. It's all good. My question is this, do you have any chiropractors coming, or will there be anything like that, an assistance at the what you have going here?
We actually have been in discussion with a couple of chiropractors, but have not confirmed anything. So just to let you know, we're open to it. You know, we just have not found someone who was interested in coming for different reasons. The ones we spoke to already have existing practices, and it was more of a business decision. They love our model and want to be a part of that. So, but inshallah, we will have a chiropractor, you know, coming into our facility at some point in time.
Inshallah. That sounds great. Sounds wonderful. I may have another question before y'all disperse. So
Okay. So
inshallah.
we do have 2 questions in the chat. The first question is, what time does the in-person event begin? And this is on our November 20th event. And how do we get involved in this work? Ooh.
All right. All right. Well, of course, November the 20th is going to be a fantastic day for us. We'll be having both the in-person and simultaneously live stream. Like I said, because of social distancing and safety concerns, we're going to limit it to around 25 people in person. So it's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time that day. Go to our website, salamcwc.org, and you'll see on there 2 buttons, one for in-person registration, another one for online registration. The reason why we separated those, because we have to limit the in-person one. So there's a separate registration, but same program, same time. I want to also mention something, because I know this is on the minds of many people. How are we paying? How can you pay for this? We are in a transition period with setting up our pricing. So we're going to start out with a flat fee. It will be like $50 for if you're just coming for one visit. But if you sign up as a member of Salam Community Wellness Center, that would be $100 a month. And there will be a limited number of engagements or therapies or visits. But what we are doing right now is we're transitioning to be able to accept both the Medicaid, not both, but Medicaid, private insurances, as well as
Medicare.
Medicare. Thank you very much. And so that takes, just to let you know, when you're setting up a healthcare practice, it takes a while to do that. But we know that the need for our services is so great that we have to move forward, get our doors open, start providing the services. Because actually the #1 service that we have been reached out for revolves around mental health, behavioral health, and for all ages. So we know how great that need is. And so we're moving forth, and we just pray to Allah that you will be patient with us as we are working through the process. We want to be there for you, but we still know that this is a business, got to keep those lights on. So if you have more questions, again, come go to our website. We do have info@salamcwc.org. That's our email address, and you can contact us through that, and we will get back to you as soon as possible, inshallah.
Any other questions? So,
yes.
go ahead.
If there's time. Assalamu alaikum. you've laid out a number of issues and concerns, medical, mental, and other conditions that the Salon Wellness Center want to address as it relates to our people. And oftentimes, because of so many issues we have, we want to address everything, but we know that's not possible, particularly with a startup. So can you tell me the 2 or 3 main items that you want to focus on as you prepare to address the multitude of issues that affect our community?
So Dr. Constance, I'm sure she can address that, but from my vantage point, it's going to be physical health, because we want to make sure that folks are well and healthy, right? Making sure that those biometrics are within normal limits, but we also want to address, and lastly, we want to be able to address their energetic health. That's their, the energy medicine that we've talked about. Dr. Constance?
And she's spot on with that. The way we set up our model, Brother Rod, is that every person who comes to the salon gets a complete physical exam, okay? And it'll be both an allopathic as well as a naturopathic exam. And they will also have a nutrition assessment and an addiction assessment, even if they're not even, using anything of addictive services, of addictive substances, we want to screen for that, because there's always that potential, So once we do that, then we will come together, the practitioners will come together and have what we call an interdisciplinary meeting or conference and look at all the issues. Just to your point, we know that oftentimes when you go to a physician or practitioner, they can come up with a laundry list of things that are not right. What we are going to do, inshallah, is prioritize those things that are the most important to address and that are addressable. So we're not going to overwhelm people. We're going to say, look, these are our recommendations, and these are recommendations in terms of how to address that. So we're going to work it, like they say, how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time? Because we don't want to overwhelm people, because we don't want to set them up for failure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, good point. There's a question in the chat. When will what's the projected date that the doors will open?
Since the 20th of November is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, we want to make sure that our start date, it starts with a full week that we will be able to offer services. So the date of opening our doors is going to be Monday, November the 29th, inshallah.
Inshallah. As we are wrapping up, we are now at the 2:00 hour. I just want to just footnote the last 2 surahs that speaks again to energy medicine, and that is Surah Al-Falaq and Al-Nas. And it is said that and it is said by Sahih al-Bukhari, that whenever Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, became sick, that he would recite these 2 surahs and then blow his breath over his body. So these are just some du'as and surahs for you, just for your own edification, as you begin to explore different ways of healing. And if there are no further questions, we'll prepare to conclude. Anything? Okay, let's see. In the chat, it says, may Allah bless this effort. And also, thanks for all of your hard work. Such an important formative Taleem. Thank you so much. Okay, so we want to thank you all so much. I did have a couple things I wanted to do, but we are out of time. So, but that means now you've got to come to Salam Community Wellness Center to see them. So,
I mean.
So thank you all so very much. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your community, right? All of us. We appreciate this community of ours. And we look forward to seeing you all at our kickoff on November 20th. Dr. Constance, any parting words?
We ask you to continue to make dua for what we're doing. We're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this because we are required by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to use our gifts that He has given us to help others. And we're doing this as not as individuals, but as part of a greater collective. We know that many years ago, Imam Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, said, you know, one day you will see the community go down, and then, you know, at some point in time in the future, it will rise up greater than it was before. And we feel that Salam is part of that rising. So we pray to Allah that you will continue to pray for this collective effort that we're putting forth on behalf of our individual community, our worldwide community. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen. I think that's a perfect way to end. We will close with dua.